What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Just to let you all know, by the way, I am indeed looking at a picture of Melania. Look, see, you guys think I'm joking. I'm not joking. Anyway, hope you're doing well. What a wild day in the markets today. I mean, if there was any doubt, by the way, that this market wasn't being manipulated, you should absolutely believe that now that is the case. You know, we went from 90,000 BTC. Everyone's like, oh, here it comes. Like, we called it. I mean, in fairness, we literally called it last night on the channel. We said, watch out, Asia market would probably open up. The only one that I got wrong was the European markets just dumped the market, relentlessly selling, which is kind of wild, albeit I think a lot of it was attributed to some of the broader ETF market. Anyway, we'll talk about that. I'll talk about a trade that I just opened as well. So we'll get into a little bit of why that is, why I've opened a trade, what I'm trying to do with that. And again, we'll sort of get into a few of the bits and pieces. I want to talk about the whole 589 in terms of XRP. If you didn't see my video earlier on, I definitely recommend checking that one out. Loads of speculation. You're going to need your silver foil hat. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be one of those deep dives into what could be, what might happen, how likely is it, all of that kind of stuff. All right. So we're going to get into it. Nadar, I've been here. It's you that haven't. I only had 3 days off at Christmas and then I was back. So yeah, we're going to get into it. And then if you're a channel member, by the way, which means if your name's green on YouTube or you're a subscriber here on TikTok, I've got a pretty bullish announcement for you guys as well, which is going to be exciting. And we're going to do it New Year's Day. All right. So I'll talk about that. Stick around for that. That's going to be good news as well. If you want to become a channel member, it's dead easy. Head down to the bottom of the screen. They'll see a little button that says join. Click that button. You can get yourself involved. But I really want to scale up this operation we have here with the channel. And so lots of stuff I'm working through. Lots of stuff I'm talking about. But more of that a little bit later on. So anyway, smash up the like button to a brand new all-time high. If it's your first time here, then do consider subscribing to the channel. I break down the markets every single day. We walk through as a community what's going on, what are the charts, what's Bitcoin doing, etc. Any altcoins you want us to look at, DeFi, all of that we cover. And then don't forget, every single day, 11:30 UK time, I put a macroeconomic and Bitcoin update video, followed by an altcoin, normally XRP video at around 4:30 UK time in the afternoon as well. So giving you a bit of a schedule, definitely, in my opinion, get involved. Okay, so with that, let's say hello to a few people and then let's dive right into what I want to talk about this evening. So, Silver Days, welcome in. Buddy, good to see you. First in this evening, shout out to you. Tim's here, Foz is here as well. Welcome in, Kevin. Good to see you. Don't forget, by the way, do share the stream out. Let people know we are live. That would be greatly appreciated. Griff's in the building. What's going on, Tomato Pete? CJ, it's been a minute. Good to see you, man. Swamp, welcome in. Desert Dog says, who came up with the number? Well, we'll talk about that. Let's get into it. It's certainly interesting. Finishing my vegetables and red cabbage for Christmas dinner. Magic Craig, you are literally one of the strangest people I know. But hey, we love you here. And then welcome in Mr. Slippers on TikTok. I actually have my slippers on right now. Bonk. Yeah, I like Bonk. We'll talk about it in a little bit later on. But yeah, we'll definitely get involved in it. BTC Hypers up 433%. Let's go, baby. Nice. I like that. I like it. I bought and closed. Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, everyone from Canada. What's going on, Ryan? Good to see you, man. Welcome in. Welcome in. Okay, Ripple Reverence in the building as well. Okay, good. Let's dive really quickly into what's going on in the charts, and then we'll get into a little bit more as to what's going on. Why has that been like that? It's super annoying, actually. My OBS has been a bit weird, because it's like, it's like showing a really small screen for some reason. Oh, that's why. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, I fixed it. All right, nice. So, what an insane day. Now, again, I'll talk about my trades in a bit, but this is a better way to look at it here on the BITUNIX chart. TikTok, do you want to see this? I feel like we didn't do it last night, and lots of people got a bit annoyed with me. Let me see if I can just reposition you guys. Where can I put you, TikTok? Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. How does that look for you guys? I mean, I don't think it's particularly great, but hey, there we go. All right, perfect. You can see, I think you can see the charts now a little bit. So yeah, so here we go then. You can see this like insane move here. I'll talk about why I'm trying to trade this a little bit later on. We'll come back to this. But this is ridiculous. This move here. So we went from kind of late on like yesterday, early hours this morning, and then we rallied all the way up to 90,000. Like not even crazy volume coming in, just a little bit of volume. And then we get a big wick, this being the biggest one. Now, there's a couple of reasons why. I'll touch on that over the course of the next sort of hour-ish. But we'll come back to this one. I have opened a trade. You'll see it down here. It's not the biggest trade in the world, about $600, but it's a long position on BTC. So it's currently 23 bucks under. I did add a little bit more margin to it. So my entry price was 87.4. I added a little bit more to it. So you can see the market price there, 87.196. So that's currently where I'm at. I think we could see a little bit more of an upside, but I'll talk about why I've done that. And again, I'm not saying that you guys should, but I'll touch on why that is in just a minute. But what we've got here, interestingly enough, on the chart is two really key bits, okay? Two really key things. So this downward sloping line here is the all-time high to what I think was the bottom. And again, this is the downward trend that we've got. So if you zoom out on this line, we touched on this yesterday, by the way. You can see here, this is going from the all-time high there on the 6th of August, 6th of October. And then we're obviously pushing all the way back down here. So this is kind of where we, this is kind of where we sit right now in terms of the market and kind of everything else that is playing out. So I just realized that TikTok can't actually see this. So sorry, TikTok. There you go. You can see it now. So yeah, this is kind of one of the lines. So you can see here some of the key touch points we have that we've been talking about, which, well, in theory, BTC is always retested and not broke. So this for me is a really key line. Now, again, you could argue and say, well, if it breaks, that means we're super bullish again. No, we need a lot of other things to come with us. The point here is, though, if we do get the break, then this is, this can be seen as a little bit more bullish than potentially we've seen recently, so I think it's worthwhile touching on. What we did get is, we talked about this the other day. So 3 days ago, this was the weekend, we got the break here on this downward sloping trend line. This was the bottom call that we had as well. So you can see here that this essentially is kind of where we've been, where we've been sort of tracking the bottom as well. And interesting enough, price came down perfectly and retested this low range, which kind of confirms to us this is a key support, but it's still in an uptrend. So two things that you need to know on here. If we were to break this line, which currently now sits around 86,884, then this would confirm, in my opinion, a bearish trend. The confirmation that we will probably continue to go down would be the break above this line. If you look at it, say, on a weekly candle, you can kind of see we get the move down, we potentially get the dead cat bounce, and then we continue to the downside, okay? So this is why this is really, really important. What I think is good news, if you want a little bit, is we're heading into 2026, which I think a lot of people naturally will feel a little bit more optimistic. We'll touch on why that is a little bit later on in the live stream as well. But for me, this is a very key part. Now, you've also got this bearish flag here that's starting to print out, and we're looking for potential breaks now further to the upside to break out from this pattern. So we've confirmed that this essentially is some key support here on the downward, but it is an upward trend. And obviously we have this momentum down. Now, many of you will know that we've talked about this pattern so many times that happens within this, and we generally know what happens after it. So you can see here, look, this is pretty much a perfect pattern that we've got. Now, obviously today is, you have to discredit this bit here. Like, you have to discredit this line here. It's just nonsense. But, essentially we've sort of got this right now. So this is why, again, I think today is really important, because if we confirm this pushback to the upside, a break above 89,000 is actually going to give us a really, really potentially good move back to the upside. Now, people would say, well, where are you going to go? I think what's also worth noting here is we retested the 20-day exponential moving average, which I've been talking about now for the last, 2 weeks? Maybe even like the last 3 weeks. The break above this is, again, the confirmation that we're looking for. Two big signals that could absolutely tell us that BTC is about to rally a little bit to the upside. Now, we're not going to get too hyped up and start being like, oh, we're all super macro bullish. This obviously is the big key resistance level. This tells us whether the bull market's back on or not. And I think unless we get a break above this upper range at 101, then I'm sorry, but I'm still in the place where I think we are bearish. Now, again, a lot can change pretty quickly, and sentiment can change relatively quickly as well. So yeah, why are your words back to front? Oh, hold on a minute. Sorry, I need to change this. There you go. There you go. Sorry, Fairground. Sorry. Okay, you guys can see that now, yeah? It's all very difficult, this operation. But yeah, you should be able to see it now because I've just changed it. So yeah, these are the couple of things that I need to see breaking. A couple of you were asking me yesterday, what is the sentiment that's going to tell me that I can flip bullish? Well, these are some of the key things. Again, this like upward wicks are just nonsense. They are absolute liquidation events. I mean, look at this. It's kind of crazy once again on that. So this is kind of where I sit. Altcoins aren't really doing a lot. What is worth noting here, by the way, is we went from $2.92 trillion here, and we wicked all the way up, and then we basically came all the way back down again. You could argue that's a manufactured pump, But again, we are still trending to the upside here on the overall market cap, which I think is, again, a reasonably okay scenario. Now, two things to worry about. BTC dominance continues to push to the upside. Still not within our range, though. This big red line here is where we see officially a BTC pump. Altcoins would be a significant challenge, probably talking 89% down again. But yeah, BTC dominance continues to move to the upside. And again, you can see there the ETH dominance, once again, holding a pretty good range, which when you look at it as a specific asset, once again, trading within this range. And you can see some really important levels here that we drew on this chart. Man, I mean, when did we draw this on? Like months ago, I feel like this was like proper months ago. These, again, you can see there, look, the 20-day exponential moving average is going to be a very key resistance line for us right now. Break above that, then we can absolutely, start to talk about a potential further move. But you can see here, look, ETH wicked up, 20-day exponential moving average, 30.63 or $3,063 got rejected. Now, what's interesting here is a lot of these play out very much exactly the same. Where you've got consolidation at certain levels with these 20-day exponential moving average, we actually start to see that the move continues to the upside, specifically on certain assets. All right, so big volume, big altcoin trades are starting to kind of look a little bit more tasty as they get a little bit nearer to that point. So that's kind of where I get. For many people asking about XRP, we'll dive into a little bit more. I'm still bearish right now, which I know people are a bit like, hold on a minute, you just put a video out earlier and you're telling us how great XRP is going to go. The fact is here, though, that we are definitely still in a macro downtrend, but I've always said this, and there's a lot of stuff to think about when it talks to XRP. It's very different, in my opinion, to other altcoins. If you were to compare, say, XRP to something like AVAX doesn't have a narrative, whereas I think XRP does, and I definitely think there is way more potentially going to come in the new year. Now, what's interesting is we did wick back up to retest 189. That's what I'm looking for, a break. But look how steep that trend line is on the 20-day exponential moving average. This is proper Goblin Town territory. So we need to see XRP flatten out, retest this lower range. 189 break above is probably where I'm at right now as we see that move. Rosie Rios is associated with the company that's putting together the 2026 ball drop. That's why the 2026 sign has 589 likes. I mean, it's insane to think about it, Crackham. And we're definitely going to talk about it. Blimey, it could go down like they said. I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe. Mouse, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Vern, what's going on? Good to see you, pal. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget, hit the like button if you haven't already. Do drop us a few likes. That would be greatly appreciated. Let's get things cooking. Let's get things moving and grooving. I would appreciate it, as always. So, yeah, XRP is kind of where it is. The rest of the altcoin market, pretty challenging, all right? There's no point really going into a lot. Zcash continues to print, which is kind of wild. The only thing I would double back on is silver took an absolute dumperino today. An absolute dumperino today. If you saw my video this morning, I literally called this. I was like, I think it's overhyped. I think it's a manufactured pump. Guess what? It is exactly that. Yesterday's massive, like super crazy FOMO, lunatic buying of silver, all a massive scam. So well done if you shorted this, by the way. Grats. I did literally talk about it in my update video this morning. We even talked about it last night on the live stream. Gold doing exactly the same. Big wick down here. Loads of margin calls. Loads of banks freaking out. Very, very interesting. People now dumping money into the repo system. We'll touch on that a little bit later as well, because I think it's pretty interesting as all this plays out. That ain't any call, bro. That's the 29 simple profit taken. Okay. Look, yeah, that's fine. Cool, Kaiser. That's fine. If that's, I'm cool with that. I mean, you can call it what you want. If you shorted the top because I said it was, grats. I shorted the top. So yeah, happy days. I bought 5,000 XRP at 228. I should have waited. Dang it. Well, this is why layering into certain assets is normally a pretty good idea as well. Never go all in, dial in. That's kind of what I've done with this trade as well. So I've got a little bit more that I probably want to put into it, but we'll touch on it a little bit later on. I think silver pump because someone hyped up a video about how silver was being manufactured using products they're being hyped up. Black. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Gold and silver went down today. Expect a rotation. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen too quick. I think you've got to wait and to get into the new year, really, before you see any sort of move. But yeah, all the kind of people talking about, oh, I'm buying silver. Oh, I'm going to move into silver. Sold all my altcoins. Like, it was super obvious that we were going to get this kind of, mega top signal. I think I even said in my update video that if everyone's calling that silver's going to the moon, then it's definitely a top signal. Whether it rallies back, gold did something similar. What's interesting is it wicks all the way back down to that layer. And once again, you'll see here the 20-day exponential moving average, really, really key level of support to think about right now. So no surprise on that. Macros, very quiet. The stock market took an absolute dump, partly because of obviously gold and silver pulling back. But hey, it is what it is. And at the same time, US treasuries came back down as well. So interesting. Okay, that kind of gives you a bit of a holistic view. We'll keep an eye on what's going on with BTC. I think it's important and certainly is where we want to kind of see all this play out, really. I think long-term gold and silver will keep moving up just like XRP. Yeah, I think so. I think so. As much as people say it's an indefinite, supply, then it is going to, at some point, obviously be restricted. So, good. Right. Let me just reposition TikTok and then we can get into the rest of the video. There we go. All right, cool. TikTok, you're there. Bullish. So I want to spend a bit more time talking about XRP, and I want to get into the whole narrative around why people are talking about this 589. Now, if you remember ages and ages and ages ago, there was a price prediction put on the number 589. Ever since then, there is so many... I don't want to sound like a bear, right? I don't want to sound like a person, but I personally think there is a very high probability that it's a coincidence as opposed to anything specific. But at the same time, there seems like there's a lot of these kind of narratives that are being played out. So I want to walk through some of them, and I want to sort of walk through what this could mean. And obviously everyone sort of knows about the New Year one. Again, if you didn't see that video, definitely recommend checking it out. Remember, we put content out every day, keeping you, or certainly trying to keep you guys dialed into the market. And you guys all know the plan this year. The plan is to stop doing the 9 to 5 and go full-time here, making content and talking about cryptocurrency. So if you want to support me on my journey, hit the subscribe button. We'd appreciate it. But again, here we talked about this one here. Look, XRP 589. Go and check it out, as well as some great content on the channel, by the way. Just search for 2-Bit Crypto and I generally come up, which is kind of cool as well. So yeah. Okay, so let's talk about it. 589, price prediction for XRP. The assumption that potentially it's going to go at some point to that price was where it originally came from. Now, don't ask me what the absolute core origination of it is. But yeah, was it Simpsons came up with 589 price for XRP? There you go. So ever since then, like we said, a lot of things seem to be kind of flowing in, whether it's the number of followers for Brad Garlinghouse or whether it's some of this stuff that we're going to talk about right now. So let's talk about what could be happening. Now, everyone is obviously assuming that we're going to see this kind of big move, and there's been lots of debate and lots of discussions right now that potentially the new year is the switch, like the flip to a totally new way of global payments, right? In which XRP could be at the absolute core of it. That's why you're seeing exchanges buy it. People say, well, 2-Bit, you're full of crap. No banks are buying it. Yes, they are. Banks are getting involved. And this tokenization coming all built on XRPL, right? It's a pretty straightforward sort of assumption. But let's dive into this 589 stuff, right? And I want your thoughts. I want your opinions. Get involved with this. It's super interesting. I bought more XRP the other day. I have so much. I'm an addict. Mr. Slippers, I love it. So 589 light bulbs on 2026 light bulb, 1 out of 1, 620 perpetual calendar light bulb moment. I mean, there's a lot of discussions going on right now that essentially we're going to see this. And this is I put a video out about this earlier on. But there is 589 bulbs in the 2026 light that's going on the top. Now, someone's commented on this earlier on as well, by the way, that the person that's sort of made it, Rosie Rios, is associated with the company that basically put all this together. And she was also part of the whole, I think she's some sort of corporate individual at Ripple as well. So is it a coincidence? Maybe, right? Maybe. What's going on, Magic Craig? Thank you for the one gifted. Joe Adam, welcome to the party, by the way. And again, if you're interested in becoming a channel member, we are going to be dialing up the Discord. Like I said, I've got something bullish for members on New Year's Day as well. So if you want to grab that channel membership, it's like, what is it, like $6 a month or something? Gets you into the premium Discord, trade alerts, VC opportunities, full trade guide on how to trade leverage, all that good stuff. Definitely worthwhile, or become a subscriber here on TikTok as well. But yeah, lots of debate right now of whether this is truly going to play out, and we could be about to see the light switch when it comes to XRP. We've said 589 can be many things, and indeed it is, and it will be many things as well as financial wealth. It's happened in the blink of an eye. Lives will be changed forever. You have been warned. Many people, like we said, are talking about the light bulb moment that officially we're going to start to see the move that everyone's been talking about when it comes to XRP. And there's been so much discussions about it right now that this absolutely could play out as well. Now, there's loads of stuff equally that's kind of a bit like, oh, man, pretty difficult. But at the same time, it's not going to happen yet. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe. It's going to happen at some time, right? It's going to happen at some time. So this is kind of where a lot of people get. So you can't just assume that we're going to get this, like, magic light bulb moment that on the 1st of January, the whole banking system across the entire globe goes, Yeah, we're just going to start using XRP. Tim coming in with a gifted. Thank you so much. Oh, Tim with 2 gifted. Bro, thank you so much. Wilf, with a fur, is it? Welcome in. And an Ego. Ego test. Is that yeah, brilliant name? Love that, by the way. Thank you so much for the 2 gifted, Tim. Appreciate that, my man. Appreciate it. I need to look after Tim, actually, with the Christmas present and Magic Craig. You guys need to remind me about that. Again, welcome in, you guys. Great time to grab a channel membership. If you are in our premium, if you are in the Discord, let me know, and I'll give you access to the premium bit as well, so you can see what that's all about for a month as well. So we have to kind of look at some of the fundamentals. Why could XRP truly be used to broaden markets? And how can we really decipher whether it is or not? You know, it's easy to sit here and say, XRP is going to the moon, right? Brad Garland's follows 589 people. Are you one of them? No, I am not, actually. I am not. No, I am not one of those followers. I should be, I think. I should be, but I am not, unfortunately. Maybe I will be. So how do we get to that point? Well, we need to understand the adoption rate for XRP. Why is there a demand for it that we maybe don't see with other coins? Why is there so much demand? And, well, how does it all sort of play out? Well, Ripple expanding its banking sector with huge new partnerships is very, very important. I talked about this about 4 days ago. Mizuho Bank, SMBC, Nikko, and Securitize, which, again, are really, really importantly linked to tokenization on the XRP ledger. This also supports its footprint in country's financial sector. We know Japan's gone bullish on BTC, tax breaks, investment companies, all of that sort of stuff. So we know XRP right now, or specifically Ripple, is starting to get involved. And I think the Japanese market will be one to keep an eye out for, even more so recently with the whole rate cuts and all that kind of stuff, right? Lynn says BTC very bullish. Yeah, I agree. Mr. Slippers, I don't watch too many YouTubers. They give the wrong vibes. I mean, that's true. That's true. I watch Jake Clever videos when I feel depressed. Yeah, well, I don't want to comment on it. Do you think any NDAs will expire January 1st? No, because I think, I mean, it would be wild if it did, but the only thing with NDAs is if you don't know what the NDAs are, you'll never know what they are. So I work for a company that does sometimes enforce NDAs with specific marketing events and stuff. Like, no one ever gets to see what they are other than the people that are involved in them. We need as many members as possible so that they're aware of the ladder system we have in place along with the other information for when we make it. Yeah, 100%. That's what it's all about. Let's go on, Holmes. Good to see you, man. Welcome in, buddy. So, yeah, deep liquidity coming in, Japanese market getting ready to full send. Now, lots of people have been talking about this as well, the supply shock. Now, you have to understand that this isn't just going to happen overnight. And I know people want it to, but there is obviously a big debate. There is 5 billion XRP on exchanges. Way more, right? It's like 19 billion or something. We touched on this, I think, last night anyway. But, you know, this whole narrative right now that, you know, essentially large accounts are circulating, they're buying more XRP. We can see this from the ETF inflows, by the way, which, again, you look at where they sit, 745.98 million, with Bitwise going absolutely ham today on their ETF, like rocking and rolling, 20.7 million, doubling the volume over the last 24 hours, which again is good news. But how likely is this supply shock? Now, you're always going to have the Ripple escrow, which has been debated by CTO David Schwartz, or ex-CTO David Schwartz, for a while now, that, you know, maybe it just isn't quite as aligned as what a lot of people think, and that, you know, perhaps we aren't due to see this kind of whole supply squeeze. However, we know that ETFs are rapidly draining liquidity supply, and XRP Ledger, the DUNL validator, is ultimately trying to move that as well. So on a widely shared post on Unknown DLT, who wrote on the 27th, XRP ETFs are absorbing supply fast with over 1.5 billion XRP left on exchanges. Now, it's a bit of a false narrative, to be honest. Reverse carry trade and supply shock. Yeah. Well, the reverse carry trade I don't think is a bigger thing. We saw that when the Bank of Japan actually increased their interest rates. That happened in 24. So the reverse carry trade is just way not a thing as much as people believe it is. And you know, again, I'm sort of advocating for, I don't believe there is a supply shock at the moment. I'm not saying that they can't be, but at the moment, I don't believe there is one. I think what's important to reference here, though, when we come to the specific items, is this number here, 1.5 billion left on exchanges. Now, it's dead easy to be in that world, but they're not accounting for cold storage because you can't validate it against exchanges. So I actually think that it isn't as good as I think a lot of people are making out. At the same time, though, what is good is ETFs are scooping up XRP, which, you know, generally is good news. Do you think any of the escrow is already allocated? Yes, I do. And the reason why I say yes, I do, is because I think that they're slowing down the amount that is left in circulation. And what other purpose is it? What other purpose is it? Like, there is no other purpose right now. They've got AMMs on XRPL. They're generating fees on there. You can even track it. They're actually generating revenue from XRPL. Not super crazy money, but enough. So I don't necessarily think it's all a portion, but I definitely think some of it is, in my opinion. Whales manipulation, people don't hold. Yeah, exactly. I mean, lots of people don't. Chizo, yeah, I did that. Some lines at the acronyms, you've got to remind yourself which ones. Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't get too hung up on this. What I would get hung up on, though, and what I think is important to get hung up on is, the fact that we are seeing XRP removed from supply. This is a different way of thinking about it. And in my opinion, it's probably a better way of thinking about it, right? I like Sui, Dr. Crypto. Yeah, I like it. I would put it up there with like top 10 altcoins to hold in 20 ticks. Just my opinion. Yeah, I like Sui. I'm going to look for a position back in that, in fairness. I sold mine over $2 last time, but yeah. I've read that XRP escrow can be sold to institutions, but still have to be time locked in line with escrow. Well, I mean, they've talked about it. I discussed this in a video. David Schwartz basically said that, yes, they will eventually allocate out or sell the rights to the escrow unlocks to banks and institutions. Whether they will or not, whether it's even, allowed, I don't know. But in theory, you'd have to be super careful, wouldn't you, about what that looks like. Think about it. What do they normally unlock? 1 billion XRP? It's a lot, innit? It's a lot. You imagine you put that to the wrong hands, like, you get absolutely yeeted on the back of it. But worthwhile thinking about anyway. There is no supply shock on exchanges. Holders have close to 116 billion XRP on exchanges readily available. So there has actually been significant inflows into exchanges. My view is people are just kind of getting ready if they need to. Because don't forget, sentiment in the market's terrible right now. And as much as you can be super macro bullish, long-term, sentiment in the market is awful, right? So people are ready to just dump their bags and run. And we're seeing that with short-term holders. Right now, I think the number, it was on my Bitcoin update video, but I think the number is like something like 40% of the current supply of BTC is underwater, as in, unrealized profits are actually not there. So people are holding unrealized losses. Interesting to think about. The XRP listed on order books for sale is dynamic, elastic, and thicken and dry out in the seconds book. Sometimes 10 million buy can push price high and sometimes 100 million high. So don't get hung up on this, right? Don't get hung up on this. Get hung up on the fact that XRP ETFs are scooping up. I heard retail sentiment is very low. Yeah, it's non-existent. Non-existent, right? Trump just said Powell is out in January. Really? Oh, market's rallying on the back of it. Kind of. Not super crazy. And look, this is kind of one of the things we were talking about just a minute ago. On-chain data shows XRP has seen a significant value on the Binance exchange inflow during the last couple of weeks, a sign that may be bearish for assets price. So people are kind of positioning themselves, I think, to potentially dump the markets if they need to. And I just think that's a way of, ending the year. I think if you were to look at something like Bitcoin, I bet it's exactly the same as well. Put us on a... As he literally just said it there. Yeah, Justin, President Trump says Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is... Oh, no, he said he's a fool. I pity the fool. Yeah, well, we know it's going to be a Kevin, don't we, for the next SEC chair. Let's hope it's Kevin Hassett. All right, Sonny Badge, what's going on, buddy? Atlantic says, why do you believe virtually no influencer or content creator got this XRP price correctly? We may not even get a 190 XRP by Jan 26 people crucifying anyone who would dare predict such a low price. I've never, in fact, Atlantic Living, I have been an advocate for nonsense. So when people say, oh, XRP's gone to $100, you're like, no, it's not, right? Absolutely not. Like, let me tell you, my predictions were top of the bull market. I thought maybe, $8 was probably where we would get to. That was the biggest I went to. I always go back to that October 10th capitulation event that I think stalled the market. I think broader adoption is needed. Right now, is XRP a good hold longer term? Probably, in my opinion, by the way. But yeah, I mean, 190, like, hey, I'll take $2 by the end of the year. So yeah, that's my opinion. But this is important to reference here, by the way, that actually you can see this massive inflows on exchanges, specifically Binance. Again, I just think it's people preparing for what might be about to come. Maybe they want to get into a position where if they need to dump it, then they can, right? So I don't necessarily think this is like a super bad news story. What I do know, though, is given what we've seen in the markets today, it is absolutely freaking wild what people are prepared to do. And I think this is probably where you want to get. So if we were to kind of summarize where we are with XRP, and I think it's worthwhile just bringing the chart up really, really quickly. is that I think there is really bad sentiment in the markets right now, right? Really bad sentiment in the markets. People are very, very bearish. Do I think on the 1st of January, after we see the ball drop with 589 bulbs and that all of a sudden the entire global payment system is going to transition to XRPL? No. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if throughout the next year we sort of get this further integration. We already know that there are banks testing XRPL. We already know that with the wormhole integration that there is loads of banks already integrated with wormhole as well. No other coin's doing that. At the same time, though, am I going to sit here and be like, XRP is going to $50 next week? No, right? We just have to be sensible. We have to understand what's going on. I mean, you have to have conviction in what you're doing. I'm not saying blindly hold any assets, by the way. I'm not saying that. But I am in a world where I think that, XRP is a coin that I think could do different things. The fact Trump talked about it, I think is a narrative that is worth holding on to. But yeah, at the minute, on the charts, though, it's awful. Let's just call it a spade is a spade. It's very down. The 20-day exponential moving average is bad. The 50-day, which is the red line, is bad. And we are under key support. So if we don't get an upside move, we could even see a lower retest of 180. So I would be very mindful. Longer term, am I bullish on XRP? Yeah, I haven't sold a single XRP. I'm still holding on to it. And it's locked away in the ledger. So we will see where we go. But let me know your thoughts. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think the 1st of January 2026 all becomes very different for anyone holding XRP? I mean, I'm down for it. I'm down for it, and let's hope we get there. Fingers crossed. Still swimming downwards towards the work of my own layers loss. Yeah. I mean, it's great if you're a UK citizen because it means you can write loads of tax off, but yeah. Invest in the bridge, not the car. XRP moves any coin, asset, and token. I like your style. I like that. I like that. Don't forget, like Stream Element says, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're brand new. We've got like 120 people in here, so shout out to everybody tuning in. I appreciate it. Likewise here on TikTok as well. Let's get it. October 10th was a bloodbath. Thoughts on why they did that? Low liquidity. They had errors on APIs. They absolutely, in my opinion, did it on purpose. Why? Liquidate the market. Who benefited? Crypto exchanges. Like, come on. So yeah, I think it was a very deliberate event, personally. And then they just put it under the fact that APIs failed. All right, cool. We were live streaming it. If you remember, we were actually live streaming the collapse. It's wild. Absolutely wild. I'm so concerned about the conversation about a Black Swan event and the government shutting down in January again. So the government shutdown is definitely a thing to be mindful of. That could happen. I think it's worthwhile thinking about it. Crypto Gift, get rich. What's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Yeah, we live streamed the whole thing. I remember live streaming and was like, oh my God, I need to buy Sui, like Ondo, like I was trying to buy while I was live streaming on TikTok as well. But yeah, literally live streamed the whole event. Which, well, that's definitely you. Someone who's watching 2-bit underwater. Is that Craig kind of bringing a bit of heat there? Are you bringing a bit of... Is Craig bringing heat there? That's a bit weird. Watch yourself, Craig. Not only did you keep muting everyone last night, you're bringing the heat tonight. Love it. Okay, so that kind of gives you my view on XRP. Again, do I think it's going to be a short-term good news story? No, because it's bearish. But at the same time, we absolutely need to be more forward-looking and what potentially could come around the corner. Just my opinion. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys know that, but I just have an opinion on what's going on. BTC is a meme coin, no different from Dogecoin or Shiba Inu, just less supplies. Yeah, I mean, at the minute, it definitely feels like that. It definitely feels like that. Yeah. And even today is one of those kind of crazy things. I said, oof, said it was scuba diving while watching. I have no idea. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I have no idea what that means, Craig. Anyway, I expect a weak dip, possibly 160-ish. I've orders set to buy a couple of thousand at that point. Nice. I mean, yeah. I mean, if we lose this current level, then, my first protocol, 179, which will be aligned to, with these big wick retests that we've had. Outside of that, I mean, yeah, you're sort of on the risk of going to Goblin Town, aren't you? 125, slightly higher, 150, 162 could be there. But yeah, keep an eye on it. I'd like to see XRP push back above this lower resistance line. That's kind of what I want. We got the wick up today. The market didn't come with us though, which is a problem. So let's keep on that. By the way, if you haven't already checked out BITUNIX, link in the description. They've got some amazing bonuses, sign up bonuses, prize pools, you name it. They've got it. If you are interested, by the way, no KYC available all over the world. Check it out. There's all sorts of cool stuff. I think you can even get a Tesla, by the way. So if you are interested in getting involved in these markets, trading them, doing all those things, please be mindful, though. You can lose all your money in this wild race. Look how it happened today in in the markets, then definitely go and check all those out. You grab tickets and yeah, pretty exciting. Lots of good stuff. Loads of you already signed up to it. Over 200 of you signed up to this. So shout out to you guys. And again, I'm actually doing some of my trading over here. So you can see I'm currently in a long position on BTC. We'll see where this plays out. I did add some more margin to it right now. My liquidation level is set 82,397, which I think is fine right now. Entry price 87,400. I did add a little bit more margin to it as well. So currently it's down like 19 bucks. All right. I'm not going to lose much sleep over this one, but I'm going to try and trade this potential. We'll look at the futures market in just a minute. But yeah, I'm going to try and trade this move again. And if you kind of aren't familiar with this, we've been seeing this now for, man, what feels like forever. Like, look at some of these wicks that we get. It's just an absolute shambles. So we basically see it most of the time. Now, lots of people attributing this to, you know, Sailor buying more BTC, push the price up into the markets. Everyone gets a little bit more exciting. But yeah, anyway, check out the link in the description. Sign up for my Discord. Links over there as well. It's totally free to do so if you are interested. But yeah, you can see my liquidation price. Unless we get down to the November lows, I'll be fine on this liquidation. Not the biggest trade in the world, but I don't advocate for giant trades. I don't think they're a particularly good idea. And yeah, reasonably low, reasonable margin, 20x leverage. So, okay. So if you are interested, check those links out. Definitely worthwhile. Okay. Let's get into a little bit more macro stuff, and then I'll take any of your questions, thoughts, opinions, all that kind of stuff, right? OPF says a crap joke, which confused everyone. Oh, man. So you think New Year's Eve, we see the bull run happening? No, that's not what I'm saying at all, nada. I'm saying that I think early 2026 may play out a little bit more optimistic because people believe that 2026 could be a good year. I mean, there's a debate, isn't there? ISM, manufacturing data, all that kind of stuff. We'll get a bit more, but I think you find out, you know, end of Jan, end of Feb will give us an indication of where potentially markets are going to go. I think that's what we've got to look out for personally. So good. Okay. Fear and greed index sitting at 24. Again, extreme fear. So understand that as well. Like if you're in extreme fear, these generally mark bottom cycles. We'll see. March is the month. I'm telling you, I'm down for it. Mattress Mike. That's a great name, by the way. I think we just need the Clarity Act to pass. Anything else is just noise, in my opinion. Yeah, you're probably not wrong. We touched on this yesterday, and we touched on why it would be important to get the Clarity Act put through. But whether we get it, that's what I need. Whether we get it is a different matter, isn't it? Sorry, I need to tighten this up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. There we go. It just it's a pneumatic boomer. BTC has one use case, hoping the next guy pays more than you did. XRP has real world function utility. Dubai is already talking about. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm super bullish on XRP, by the way, and I do think I think Bitcoin will become more of a store of value like gold, and I think XRP will end up being something like platinum or titanium, which has just way more usage. That's my view, by the way. I don't actually hold a lot of Bitcoin. My kids own more than me. Yeah, the Clarity Act is a delay. They've got to push it through, though. It's similar to my view on Trump pumping the economy, by the way, for the midterms. They've got to get it through, because if they don't, and then they lose the House, it won't go through. That's just my view, by the way. And Trump's too invested in the crypto market, or certainly, you know, Trump Jr. and Eric Trump are. So anyway, fear and greed, right? Now, what is interesting, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but it is worth noting here a little bit that... generally, and I talked about this on my update video this morning, but generally gold and silver do top out first. They're seen as a hedge against inflation. They're seen as risk off. We touched on it in a minute. The market's super risk off, right? Super risk off. You can even see it in US bank loans. Like banks aren't lending what they used to do. Like markets are super, super risk off. There's nervousness around the economy. We even looked at where the sort of approval rating for Trump is at the minute on specifically on those the economy. Even if you look at the global IMF, like it's not great right now. But yeah, generally we've seen gold, silver top, and then Bitcoin has rallied before. Now, is this cycle different? Maybe, right? Maybe. You can see back in 2020, the crash, the Fed injected massive liquidity into the system. The first asset to react was gold and silver. Now, some of you may say, well, we are seeing that a little bit right now, aren't we, 2-bit? Kind of. Not quite as you would expect it to, though. Now, loads of people you will hear talking about the fact that the Fed's pumping loads of money in. In fact, loads of people are like, oh, here it is. They're absolutely doing it. They're sending it to the moon. Not quite. Not quite. They are injecting liquidity, but this is to stabilize the banking sector. Bear in mind, gold just wiped out more value in the last 24 hours than the entire crypto market put together, which is pretty insane. But 10.5 $10.5 billion was what was injected into the banking sector, which, by the way, on Friday, $20 billion. So that's $30 billion that is dumped in. Now, what a lot of people don't tell you is that this has to come back out. They actually pay a fee for this. But what they're doing here is that you've got bank withdrawals coming in. So people are definitely kind of looking to take more money out of the banking system. Why? Ask yourself that question. Why are people running on the banks? What has changed between Friday and today? Well, like we talked about yesterday, you got a run up on gold. So this was kind of Monday, wasn't it? Here, look. So you see this kind of move here, that we got this spike going into the Christmas period. Silver is exactly the same. People are like, oh my God, I need to go buy all these commodities, metals, platinum, everything else. And now everything gets dump-arenoed. So interesting enough that people are putting that in there. So what we then assume is that gold and silver will peak and then Bitcoin will follow suit afterwards. You know, whether it will or not is a big debate. You know, if the economy doesn't come with us, the markets don't come with us, and everything feels a bit naff, then we're probably not going to get where we need to get to. But this microphone is really starting to bug me a little bit, actually, right now. Okay. It makes sense to pump precious metals, then stabilize them to change the financial rails. That's true. That's true. And, you know, generally speaking, if you push the price of metals, the only thing is, obviously, the cost of manufacturing goes up. Does it mean that profits go up? Probably not. Is it me, or is this actually just dropping down? Or has it just been, I think it's just been me. But yeah, maybe we get that. What's interesting, by the way, digital asset products saw 446 million in weekly outflows, bringing the total post 10th of October to $3.2 billion. So this doesn't necessarily mean the market's like dumping. I mean, the market is down a little bit, but, you know, cumulative outflows is a total amount of money moving around. So don't get too hung up on it. This is like the whole market. But essentially, it does mean that we are seeing outflows post October the 10th, which I think is interesting. But there is some good news. Kind of. Coinbase Premium has dropped to its lowest level since November, signaling sustained selling from US invested institutions. They have to stop at some point. Now, some of you may be thinking, 2-bit, when is this? Well, now is the answer. The long-term holders have stopped selling BTC for the first time since July 25. There's signs for a relief rally. So what you've got here is that you've got a lot of people holding a lot of crypto currently on exchanges. So the question then is why? Are they just getting ready to, if the market's completely shit the bed, that they can get out? Or are they in a world where potentially they're going to leverage into something else? Maybe they're looking to take some trades on. We'll take a look at leverage in just a minute. But yeah, worthwhile noting, by the way. Also, when we talk about federal inputs, and we discussed how do you get the markets to move, what's coming in 2026, you are going to get a new Federal Reserve chair. He's essentially, and we know it's a he, by the way, I'm not being sexist, he's essentially going to do what Trump wants. Now, to a degree, they're sort of an independent pie at the same time, but we know there is going to be injection into the markets. And actually right now, net foreign purchase of US assets are up, like not even just a little bit, like skyrocketing up, 1.65 trillion so far this year. In fact, the biggest year that US assets have had. So these are things like AI, data centers. They're all the kind of bits that people are getting involved in. All right. So, you know, foreign investors bought 20 billion in treasuries than 2024. This essentially is dumping money into the US markets, which I think is important. 2-bit when bull run. Hopefully soon, Fairground. Hopefully soon. Formix, thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Looks like you're ready to burst into song, 2-bit. Do you reckon? Just, you know, the hills are alive with the sound of music. By the blood, by the fear, costs nothing to hold and wait. That's true. Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, that is the strategy, isn't it? The Warren Buffett strategy, like, you know, buy when everyone's freaking out. That's the best way. And then look, the US Treasury yield. Now, this is something we don't really discuss. I'm not professing to be any superstar when it comes to economics, but it is worth noting here, by the way, that what this is what they call the 10-2 spread. Some of you may have heard this before, but what you've got is the difference between the 10-year Treasury and the 2-year Treasury, and what that difference means depends on whether you are heading to recession or not. So what you'll hear is an inverse curve generally signals non-recessionary sort of economic stance. A unreserved or unreversed yield curve could potentially signal recession. But what have we got? Well, the period in the 10-year notes have increased by 37 basis points to 4.13, while the 2-year has dropped -28. This basically in the last century, most recessions began after a yield curve turned positive and continued to steepen for the last 9 months. This time the curve is rising without an NBER declared recession. So essentially we're not seeing a steepening in the 10-2, and this basically could indicate that the economy achieved a soft landing. Why would a soft landing be important? Because it means that we don't need to see super aggressive rate hikes, tightening of fiscal policy, and all of that good stuff, which means, broadly speaking, people may be sooner to go into risk assets. All right. Once again, just because a few people put some comments in my previous video, I'm not here advocating for the biggest bull run in history in 2026. All you got to do is say, well, let's understand what could be playing out and how do we therefore play those markets. And I think that for me is the broader discussion right now, as opposed to when moon, is BTC going to new all-time highs? The argument is, are we going to see bullish sentiment in the markets or not? And if we think there is, great. If we think there isn't, then you should be pretty much in stablecoin. Just my opinion, right? Just my opinion. Okay. Good. Right. So that kind of breaks down a lot of what's going on right now in the markets, in my opinion. I guess the summary would be, well, where do we think the market's sitting right now? And I've been discussing this for a while. I think we're at a key point. We could either see this push to the upside or we end up in Goblin Town. I think early 2026 is going to be important, and we'll know that in 3 days' time, what that feels like. Don't forget, markets will be super quiet going into it. As for XRP, I'm still holding it. I'm not accumulating anymore, but that doesn't mean that if we were to see a drop further in price to some of those ranges we talked about, that I wouldn't be tempted to go in and buy a little bit more. The problem I have a little bit is my buying price was like 40 cents. I don't particularly want to be buying at 185. You know, if it dropped to 120, 130, 140, 150, maybe I'd be tempted to pick up a little bit more. I also think, however, there's lots of altcoins out there that are significantly undervalued. The key thing for XRP is which and what announces their partnership and integration first. Banking sector, finance market, pension funds, tokenization, like what is it going to be first? You don't end up with links to the NASDAQ. You don't, and all of a sudden the NASDAQ wants to trade 23 hours a day. You don't end up links with making your own bank. You don't have links to tokenization through BlackRock without having something that's behind it. You've got payment rails, you've got deep liquidity, you've got all of the things that fundamentally are going to support the adoption of the narrative. You just need the switch to be fit. And that is the debate that I think a lot of people are having right now for New Year's Eve. We'll be streaming, so I'm not right until midnight. Oh boy, I know. Yeah, it'll be later, won't it? Yeah, I literally will get told off by my missus if we're not. People selling for cash, paper and ink. 1 USD buys half a Snicker bar. Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. What were we saying about yesterday? Like I think we were using a chomp bar as an example. That used to be like 10p and they're like £1 now for a chomp bar. I mean, what is that about? Who pays £1 for a chomp bar? Insane. Insane. I figured you'd be more of a Monty Python song and dance moment. Can you imagine? The hype on the act passing will carry us through while they implement it, I hope. Yeah, same. So long-term BTC holders are finally going to stop dumping on their community. Hopefully, Tomato Pete, yeah. That's kind of what the market is looking like. I bought B-Sol today. What say you? B-Sol? What the hell is B-Sol? I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what it is, but let's bring it up. So where are we at? 22. So again, if you've got any questions, thoughts, opinions, maybe you've bought B-Sol and you want to know what it's all about. I'm not going to profess I know everything, but I'll try and give you an opinion. Blaze staked Sol. Is that right? Am I saying that right? Blaze stake, staked Sol, right? Is it like an equivalent to Solana? 123. Man, I don't know anything about this. I know nothing about this whatsoever. I mean, you could argue and say it's in a small uptrend, but I don't know what it is. I have no idea what this is. It's doing 148k in volume on a $134 million market cap. Yeah, not sure. A spot Solana ETF. Oh, nice. Yeah, I think it's a good shout. Yeah, I mean, other than the fact I'm all in on cryptocurrency, right? I'm all in. I used to trade dividends, stocks, shares, FTSE 100s, all that kind of stuff. I used to do all that. Not like super crazy. I've never really been a trader, so to say. But yeah, I mean, if you're getting into ETFs, like shout out to you. I think Solana and XRP ETFs, great opportunity, especially because they can start generating yield for people. And I think once that starts to move, then yeah, I don't know what the price are right now, but I don't think that's a bad shout at all, personally. Maybe a department of silly walks and mock the circus politics going on right now. I mean, it feels like it at the minute, doesn't it? Higher inflation should convince it. Convince what? I'll be up till midnight. I'll be watching Stranger Things and then waiting for 1 a.m. for the finale to come out. I mean, I'll be up past midnight just because, well, I feel like as a 42-year-old man that I shouldn't be going to bed before midnight on New Year's Eve. But yeah. But yeah, I don't think exposure to ETFs are a bad thing at all, by the way. I don't. And I think, you know, all you have to do is look at XRP and Solana ETFs. They've been inflows to the max. So yeah, not a bad shout, I don't think. Not a bad shout. Thanks to BV Content. Like and subscribe. Hey, thank you so much, Marcus. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, don't forget, by the way, if you are interested, we'll be doing a channel members thing on New Year's Day. So New Year's Day live stream is going to be super bullish. If you are a channel member, then you definitely need to be involved in that one. It is obviously Thursday the 1st. We'll be discussing all of that. If I was to give you a hint as to what could be coming, then I will do that right now. But yeah, definitely be involved. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good stream. I'm excited about it. And yeah, remember, it's like $6 a month, but I reckon it's worth it. All right. I reckon it's worth being in that stream for New Year's Day. So yeah, get excited about it. Okay, good. Where are we at right now? BTC trying to crawl back right now. So yeah, we're definitely seeing a little bit of a move back to the upside. Nothing super crazy going on. I mean, look at this. This is disgusting, isn't it? But nothing super crazy going on right now. I'm going to the pub for New Year's Eve. Nice, Tomato Pete. Did anyone else know that some of the underside world features were based on some of the... no, I did not know that. I did not know that. But yeah, shout out to you. Good. All right. Well, we can take a look at some DeFi stuff. We can take a look at anything you guys want to take a look at. Like, I'm all in for anything you guys want to discuss, really. Any questions you've got, any stuff in the market you maybe want to discuss, all of that we can cover off for sure. So, yeah. Don't forget, if you haven't already hit the like and subscribe button, though, please do so. It does support the stream, gets us moving and grooving, which, you know, helps us on our journey. And yeah, look out for 2026, by the way. We'll obviously discuss this a little bit more on New Year's Eve, which I think is important. But yeah, I want to start to get, I want to start to really dial up the channel in terms of really, you know, starting to move the Discord quite significantly, daily updates in terms of trade setups. I want to, and by the way, these will be roles in which the community I want people to do, they will be funded roles as well. So we will be, let's say hiring for certain things. So if you're really good at technical analysis, shoot me a DM. If you're really good at meme coins, shoot me a DM. Like, I want to support that, and we want to start to get things rocking and rolling. So yeah, 2026 is our year, folks. Get ready for it. Ben, what's going on? Thanks for hey Ben, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it, buddy. Hi, all. Sorry, just getting in now. Any chance of a quick recap to a bit? Yeah. Watch out for New Year's Eve. XRP may flick the switch. Unlikely, but lots of indications say that 589 is going to be important. Massive sell-offs in terms of ETFs. We'll touch on that in a minute. And is XRP a good hold long term? Yes. Watch out for early 2026. That could signal a solid move in the market. Then you're pretty much up to speed. Obviously, you missed out on a ton of detail and load more information around it. But essentially, that's kind of what we got to. Essentially, that's where we got to right now. But yeah. Okay. So if you remember, we talked about this yesterday as well, and it does look like, as we've discussed before, that these markets sort of play out. So BlackRock dumping over 2,200 BTC. We saw that. They dumped a lot of Ethereum as well at the same time. So, you know, worth noting, look at this outflow in institutions. Difficult to call, really, but then ETFs just absolutely yeeted the market again. So interesting. I watch it because I'm useless at anything digital. I've been lucky to get into XRP. Nice, Mouse. Craig has expertise in the yen. That's true, actually. Yeah. So if you want to do some sort of currency ones, someone asked me about Aster. I mean, it's. I did get into Aster. I sold here somewhere, like when it pumped a little bit. Here's my concern with Aster. Dale Russell, what's going on, buddy? Here's my concern a little bit with Aster. No one's talking about it right now. Obviously, it was super hyped. If you don't believe in the cabal, then fine. But all the like cabal crew were like, Aster's going to the moon. It's going to Billy. Like, no one cares about it now. Like, literally no one cares about it. So, you know, I think If you're in it, then fine. If you're using the perps decks, fine. I think it'll come back with a market move. Like if the markets turn bullish, people start to get involved in crypto again, great. Like I think Aster will do well. Hyperliquid's got a massive token unlock this week. Like if people aren't trading perps, it's almost worthless. Like no one cares because you're just going to go and trade futures on exchanges or you're going to go and spot buy. That's it, right? But yeah. Fairground says Aster has had it. Yeah, you're probably not wrong in fairness, but do I think it'll come back? Potentially. Potentially. XRP 589 hype dream. Certainly is in the short term. Zebek, Crow, and XRP are my biggest bags. Have you checked Zebek? Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, oh, mate. We were in Zebek ages ago. I mean, I sold mine. Where did I sell mine? Up here somewhere. Like the 4 range, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, man, lots of people were... Blue Cave, if you just come in, it's not what I'm talking about. It's not what I'm talking about, by the way. So this isn't a live stream where I'm saying to everybody, "Hey, we're going to $589 next week. Hold on 3 days." No. That's not what I've been saying at all. Not at all. Just for clarity, by the way. But yeah. Sound, Kevin, I think that's on you, by the way, because I think the sound's fine at my end. Everything I can see is saying that the sound's coming out. It does turn out I have a good nose for sniffing out good deals. I just wished I had the funds to back it up. What's that for, Magic Craig? Marty's in the building as well. No audio. No sound. Are you guys winding me up? Well, I mean, I can see it on my bit. Sound is good. I think you guys need to refresh or turn your volume up. In my opinion. But yeah, I hope the boredom in the market leads to something soon. So, but yeah, Foz, you're absolutely right. The market is super boring right now. Super boring. Even volume's low. We talked about it yesterday, but Mark says I hear you around. Okay, cool. Sound dropped out. I had to close and rejoin. All right, Mark, no, what's going on, bro? I did look like I dropped 200 frames, so not quite sure why, but yeah, looks like we're back now anyway, so good news. Okay, so yeah, Zebek, I like it. Again, though, this is the sentiment in the market. I think I've just noticed the 2-bit. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's voice activated. Mouse. Thanks, Blue. So, yeah, I mean, I like it. Again, it's not doing anything, though. Look at this. It's actually at the low range. You could argue maybe this is like a decent setup as a potential trade right now. Look at that. Low range, again, hitting the bottom of this peak. Could we see a bounce? We've seen it happen before. You know, look at some of these trade setups here. Look, 1, 2, 3. In fact, go back all the way here. Look, bounce, 200 exponential moving average, big bounce to the upside, bounce on that liquidation event, October 10th. We wicked up here as well. You know, this could be setting up for a nice little move right now, actually. You know, this could be a short-term trade if you were looking for it. You know, where would you go in? Slightly below? 2332, 2 zeros that. You know, low margin. Potentially this could be a move. Look at this as well in the RSI. So, yeah, Zebek could be set up for a nice little trade if the market were to come with us tomorrow. Now, we do get a bit of data tomorrow, don't forget. So, we could actually end up with a little bit of a nice bullish move. We'll look at the pre-market in just a second. But, yeah, maybe Zebek is an interesting trade right now. Maybe. Just saying. Bouncing ball can go either way. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you'd wait for confirmation, wouldn't you? So, you'd go on a way smaller time frame, for example. You could go to the 30 minutes. You can see here, look, we actually did wick down on that kind of dump earlier on and then bounce back up. So, we know that this ends up being a, you know, kind of key support there at 2-3. You'd want to wait for a confirmational move. Oh, Jesus Christ. The pre-markets look awful. Okay, we'll touch on that in just a second. We'll touch on that in just a second. To Tuesday, don't forget, we do actually have FOMC minutes coming out tomorrow. So that could be interesting to give us a view as to what the Fed's sort of view was. Was there any discussions about who could take over? What does monetary policy look like? Et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, could be good news. We could get a little bit. That's about it, really. That's about it. There's nothing super exciting outside of the Fed minutes tomorrow. So I don't mind having a big tax bill next year if we got a $5.99, but yeah, me too. Me too. The yen and sandbox. Oh my gosh, yeah, let's do it. If Zebek goes to 1 cent, we'll be laughing. I mean, that's true. Yeah, Craig is the forex and currency market trader. Imagine that. That'd be epic. That'd be epic. Anyone know when the Zebek super app comes out? Itching to stake my huge bag. I do not know. I do not know. I didn't even know they were building a super app. Pretty cool. Drop down a connection a little bit. I mean, I haven't lost any more frames recently, so I mean, everything's plugged in here where it should be. So, yeah, maybe it's the weather. I don't know. I am actually going to upgrade my PC setup as well. I'm definitely in a world of getting a new setup on the PC and upgrading stuff because I need to. It's been a while. Well, did you see the BG123 Riddler's post on Xmas Day 589 carved into a stone? I did not. No, I did not. But let's do it. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, people. Bit of a day with XRP ETFs. Shorts get wrecked and try to cover. I mean, that's true. Who is it? BG123. Ben Gustman. Is that the person? No. Is it just called? I mean, it's like who did put it into? Oh, I'm not going to find it here. I can't see anyone. Go ETH, go XRP. Let's do it. You was buffering earlier. Might just be a bit of slow connection. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine at my end. I did lose 223 frames, so fine. I know where you can. Yeah, I know. I need to build it though, Alvin. I do need some bits. You need to become like a. Well, I mean, I could just. I mean, I don't know if they got some like any Dell product. What partners are you? Sony as well. I mean, maybe I get a PC. Does Sony do good PCs? Andrew, what's going on, buddy? I was saying Jake was right. Don't think so. Don't think so. What did he say? I can't remember what he said. Was it like $1,000 by the end of the year? Go nearer the window. Yeah, just get my Wi-Fi and start waving it around. Did he say $1,000 by the end of the year? Can't remember. Silver, thanks, man. Appreciate it. There's more than 46 folks here. Hit the like button. Yeah, let's do it. Why did the ETF outflows happen? Do you mean the Bitcoin ETF outflows? Like people are just nervous with the markets right now. Like that's the reality of this. People don't know whether. Don't forget, loads of confidence is down in terms of Trump's economy. As much as he'll say, you know, look, the economy's booming, everything's going fine. Like people are really nervous about it. Like they're just nervous about where the market's going to go. So, you know, you've got silly, like super crazy things like this. Imagine you're a trader. Like you basically just get wicked out here and then you get wicked out here. Imagine you're trading commodities right now. Let's say you bought the top on silver. I mean, I don't know if we can see the silver liquidations, but you just got absolutely nuked on this drop here. Like totally nuked. Like you would have been super bullish here. You're like, oh my God, silver's going to the freaking moon. Look at that. It's a disgusting sell-off. Now, people obviously think that the banks are going to freak out and that there's potentially loads of margin calls coming in. But yeah, I mean, that is a big old set-off. Is there, we'll look at the pre-market in just a second, actually. But is there a, I don't even know why I've got this up. Is there somewhere we can see the futures liquidations on silver today? Anyone know? Let's see if we can find it. Silver liquidation value today. Silver. Let's do silver. Margin call amount today. Silver's 11% interest rate crash on the COMEX was triggered by profit booking after CME Group increased margin requirements for white metal futures on its exchange by 3,000 for the March 26 contracts, taking its margin to approximately 25,000 from 22,000. That's another thing. They just went, oh, we need more money actually now. So yeah, like they basically margin call loads of like banks and shit, which is kind of wild. But it doesn't give us a value. I thought maybe we'd be able to get a value on what was margin called on silver today, but I bet it's a lot. Don't forget, gold wiped out the entire crypto market cap in its move today, which is also insane if you ask me. Silver's at like 79 something, I think. Where are we? Silver 72. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, look at that. That's like a what? I was like 66. Thanks, Blue. I'm intrigued by the Ripple and XRP riddles like 589, but I don't make financial decisions. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, in fairness. My brothers and sisters in Veracity, we have been deceived. Wow, what's happened? Tibbet, do you see the news about Veracity? The team came out and said they weren't going to migrate 90% of the supply to the Tron network like they said they would. We're going to double supply and make a new coin. What? What? Oh my God, look at that. Boom. Dumperino. So what they said, that they're not going to do it. Sad to see what happens as become this project. Such a potential. Oh, well. Wow, that is a shambles, isn't it? Why did it reach? I've been thinking, do I sell? On what? VRA or on silver? Strategic update. What have they said? VRA token update. Following comprehensive internal review, the Veracity Foundation has elected not to migrate proof of or POV tokens away from the existing Ethereum-based smart contract, live accelerating client adoption across Web 2 and Web 3, landmark progress and major. In the maximum supply VRA is 200 billion to support long-term scalability. The adjustment accommodates upcoming POV activities, ad stack operations if you demand. This concludes action supersedes all previous token. Wow, they just literally yeeted it, didn't they? Oh my god. Our B2B focus remains clear. Veracity, though, VRA will continue to power proof of value, and our text PLRL is missing piece. Wow. Wow. Plural is an ecosystem of products built around the belief that this value created by data, content, and ads should belong to more than one side. So they're going to launch on the base chain with PLRL. 10 billion hard cap. Wow. They basically like completely just rugged everything, didn't they? Well, they didn't rug everything, but you get my point here. It's an absolute shambles. Look at that. Well, I love it because it was supposed to be AI to fight the fraud, and it was like the biggest fraud they could have done to their holders. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, silver. Yeah, it reached like $83 or something. 83.75. It's a pretty big number. Typo, anyone? What's going on? What's going on, Laura? You see Pepe. Oh man, don't get me talking on Pepe. Pepe is like terrible right now. But again, if you were here for the stream last night, we talked about how Ethereum may be due a big move in the new year, or certainly longer term, Ethereum could end up being a big player. So if we get a move on ETH, then Pepe might be a decent one, in my opinion. Pepe is exploding. It's down 2%. So yeah. Go ETH. Yeah, exactly. Type 21. I don't know what that means. Zebek, Axe21, good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. I heard the Flow Network had a hack the other day. Flow Network. Thoughts on Jasmine? I think it will pump next cycle. I mean, Jasmine had a nice little move the other day, but it's all retraced. The whole market's retraced again. You know, we actually had a decent move on Jasmine. What I would say is this lower support range. And it depends how you look at it. I mean, the whole market is cooked right now. The whole market is cooked. So, you know, it doesn't matter what you're in. AVAX at $12 for even Chainlink, which is super bullish. Lots of good news going on with Chainlink, is at $12. Like, it's insane, by the way. It's insane. Yeah, Sui, I like Sui, 144. Again, look at this bounce on Sui, by the way. It could definitely play out as a potential rally again. You know, Sui could break the 20-day exponential moving average. I think there's so much right now in the 20-day exponential moving average that, you know, we get a break above that, then, you know, we might be in for a decent ride. If we don't, then, you know, we're going to Goblin Town. No! Just leg drop the like button for the top. Thanks. I leg dropped it from the top, Robs. Love it. I did a type on the above comment regarding tokenomics and XRP for a decent price. Well, I mean, I talked about it earlier. I think if we don't hold 182, which I think we currently are right now, or 185, then yeah, 160, 165 is probably my, you know, my next price target. Low end, super light market goes to Goblin Town, 125. But yeah, just my opinion. Shambub said, are you able to recommend any good TA courses? We actually did fund some TA courses here on the channel. The answer is, I mean, kind of. We actually, in our premium Discord, do have a full breakdown of technical analysis indicators. It's actually 2 different types. Let me see if I can bring this up, actually. So again, you get access to that by becoming a channel member. It's like $6 a month. But yeah, so here is our, can I continue? No, I don't want to continue Discord. I want to see it here. Oh, hold on a minute. So yeah, we have this here. Learn to trade, copy link. Is this going to work here? Maybe it is. Is it going to work here? Oh yeah, continuing browser. There we go. Oh, come on. All right, fine. Bear with me 1 second. Let me just change this up to... here. All right, perfect. There you go. So this is what you get. Obviously, this is for the premium Discord. So you get here a welcome call, chart request, which obviously has a bot that'll look at any charts you want to take a look at. We've got alpha calls for any particular project, some key trade signals going on with markets, all broken down. And then we have this learn to trade section. So you can see here, trading indicators and trading strategies that, again, walks through what is going on, what is worthwhile looking at. This takes you through loads of stuff here that you can get in terms of trading and all these kind of specific things. It's an extensive guide for any beginner that gets in. Talks about some of the key indicators that you want to get involved in. Lots of stuff going on with it. You get this free as well by being part of that. And equally, you've got trade strategies as well that you can get involved in. This takes you through all sorts of stuff. Risk management, execution steps, how to trade these effectively. And you get it for, you know, like $6 a month. Don't pay for all these like crazy that charge you like hundreds of dollars for that. You don't need to get involved in any of that sort of stuff. Right. That is annoying. That's annoying. Right. Let's bring up the oh, please don't tell me it's crashed. Close that down. Oh, come on. I think my OBS is broken. Come on, OBS, sort your life out. Bruh. What? You guys hear me all right? Let me know in the chat that you can hear me all right. We had a few technicals. Don't worry about it. Am I back? Buffering again. Yeah, my OBS crashed. OBS totally crashed. So let me know if I'm back. Hopefully I'm back. In and out. Griff. I should be back now though. Am I back? Audio, video, good. Okay, cool. We're back. We're back. Good job you were still here, TikTok. So let's take a look at the pre-market. But again, by the way, if you are interested, grab a channel membership. And yeah, also don't forget, we have got some cool stuff coming up. So yeah, if you're interested in all that stuff, then get involved. Right, pre-markets then. Pre-markets look awful. Not going to lie to you guys. They look terrible. All right. So we've got the Dow is going to open pretty nastily, -22. The S&P looks like it's going to be down. Did we see this yesterday? I feel like the US market showed this yesterday. The ones we're interested in, looks like the Hong Kong Stock Exchange looks like it'll open down. Shanghai looks like we might get a little bit of relief. I don't think it's going to be super bullish, but look, there's a little bit. And the STI looks like it's going to be relatively flat. Commodities, gold looks like it's going to dump a Reno. Silver looks like it's going to dump a Reno. So watch out. I think you're going to see further capitulation down on those two. The VIX looks like it's going to be pretty flat. And then you've also got the US market. So US market's definitely a risk right now. Definitely a risk for market opens tomorrow. Again, we'll see what them Fed minutes do. In terms of FTSEs and all the rest of it, you know, nothing too crazy. So we may see a further sell-off in the Japanese market. We'd probably see flat European market. And then we may get a bit of a dumperino into the US market. So again, we will see what that looks like overall. The key bit for me, we talked about this earlier though. Let's see if we can hold this upward sloping trend line. That's what we need to hold on to right now. Fingers crossed we can. This will probably tell us that we're in a decent place. So we probably want to see it move back up. The key breakout is upper range 89,000 and breaking the 20 exponential at 88.4. So look out for that. Do you think is there a big correction in silver that the money will flow into XRP? I don't necessarily think it's going to flow into the crypto market just yet. I do and have been calling the fact that I thought silver was going to be... I think silver's a manufactured pump. And I talked about this in 2 videos now. And the reason I believe that is China's restricting the movement or the sale of silver. Like China are deliberately doing it. So let's just really quickly, by the way, because I think it probably emphasized my point. Let's see global holdings of silver. Let's see who has most of it. Global holdings of silver consider approximately 1.71 million. Be mindful. Who owns it though? The countries with the largest identified reserves: Peru, Australia, Russia, China. So China have the 4th biggest deposit of silver. So they're restricting it. Peru's not going to do much. Australia, yeah, ish. Russia and China. So this is the thing. You've got, essentially Russia and China will probably hold most of the silver, most of it. And look at this. Mexico is the leading annual silver producer, followed by China and Peru. So they can restrict it. Like, China are deliberately stopping it going out. Like, it's so overvalued in China as well, which is insane. Which is why I think that it was always due to go with a pretty heavy correction. And look, exactly that happened. So, yeah, interesting. Mason, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Off to Betty. Bye, lads. Take care. OPF. See you later, buddy. Always good to have you here. A month or so ago, there was no silver available to buy on charts. And I think it's a really restricted commodity right now. I don't necessarily think there's a lot that people are available to buy because, there's been such a crazy run on it. So, we'll see. Do I think it flows into the crypto market? Not yet. I'm way more like 2026, January, February, confirmation then. By that time, we'll have loads of data coming out. We'll get our viewers to kind of what the Trump second year looks like, going into midterm, stimmy checks, all that kind of good stuff. Will play out. Surely if they hold it in their country, its price will go down. No, because they're restricting supply. So the demand's higher than the supply. Therefore, the price will go up. And then what they'll probably do, which is, again, is what we've seen before, the rare earth metals thing. And then they just dump a whole of... That's like how the whole kind of Chinese model works, is that they restrict supply, dump a whole load on it, and then bring the price down. You look at electronics as an example. It's a prime obvious strategy that they've used for so long. So... yeah, definitely interesting one. Do I think it's the biggest narrative right now to look out for? Probably not, but I think it's worthwhile keeping an eye out on, in my opinion. And, for me, it's a bigger indication of sentiment, right? It's a bigger indication. Johnny says, I'm out of these markets come June 26th, I think. Probably not a bad shout, mate. I hope you're well, by the way, buddy. Hope you had a good Christmas. You've got to mention another shutdown for next year. No, Miss Johnny, I said that. I said it's very much on the cards and probably likely. January 31st is where we'll get an indication of whether we are going to see a further government shutdown. The only thing that I think may stop it is obviously all the stuff going on in Minnesota right now. That might mean that it's not quite as aggressive as we saw last time. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, mate, that's not great, is it? Gotta get right for New Year's, mate. I imagine you'll be partying. But yeah, get well soon, buddy. I don't know, but this one is different in a good way. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. We'll have to see. This Trump administration on a different level. I mean, yeah, that's true. There was a bit of a theory that silver is expensive to mine, so they need the price to be high. If it's not worth mining, we use silver in electronics. I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe. That's probably why you've got it in so many of the, like, let's say, the cheaper workforce countries. Let's say it like that. That's probably a better way of putting it, isn't it, than anything else? So, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of why Elon came out, because obviously his whole, like, ecosystem of his company's built on it. Flew off to Wigan for a big house party. Nothing crazy, just as old as mate. Yeah, I can feel that. I won't be. I'll be live streaming here, and then I'll be watching. Who's on the BBC New Year's Eve like party? Who is it this year? New Year's BBC 2025. Who is it? Ronan Keaton. No way. Come on. Come on. Bruh. What? Oh, it can't be. It can't be. Ronan Keaton and friends and New Year's Eve party. Bro, come on. Really? Really? Like, when are they going to get... Like, it was Sophie Ellis Bextor last year. She was kind of cool. I like that one, but... Yeah, man. Guess I won't be watching the BBC. We'll be live streaming all evening. We'll be like, 3, 2, what? Happy New Year. Oh, Bitcoin. Oh, that's what's going to happen. Anyway, with that being said, it is that time again to say goodbye to our friends, and we will see you obviously tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, imagine. I mean, Timmy Mallet would be pretty interesting, actually. Okay, good. Right, watch out for the markets tomorrow. Bitcoin is weak by the looks of it right now. I think Asia markets may be a real challenge. We don't want to see it break below 86.8. All right, stick that on your candles. We want to keep an eye on what's going on with BTC. I'd like to see it push back up. Anything above 87 would be, a good close, I think. Ideally, 87.5K would be a positive. But let's see. I think definitely showing a bit of a sign of weakness. Altcoins obviously getting slammed. We will see how this all plays out. Another very insane day in the market. Huge manipulation, lots of nervousness, low liquidity, and let's keep an eye on 589 when it comes to XRP, because that could be good news as well. So don't forget, smash up the like button to a brand new all-time high. If you haven't already joined the Discord, it's totally free to do so. And if you want to become a channel member, like some of you had, shout out to Tim and Magic Craig for that tonight, then grab that channel membership and get in the Discord. Appreciate you guys all. Right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Same time, same place. Don't miss it. As always, take care. Appreciate you guys. See you soon.